1, 2.
Love God's children fast.
No heathen
like to call this meeting to order.
Vichman Kosa here, the Skiatin Hope, Niho de Rosa, Helvido Hesa Handos Rosa, Niho de Han Hoises, the Donko. I had my own Swafi long, Niho de Rosa, the God, the Nedlaja, the Hesi. Father, we just thank you this evening that we're able to assemble again. We just thank you for your love and your mercy that you have bestowed upon this nation, not only today, but in the past. Lord, we just trust in your name in the future, Lord, that you would have your hand in it. Lord, we just ask in your name that you be in the midst, Lord, that the decision made will be from the heart, Lord, for the betterment of the nation and for the health of the people, Jesus. In your name we ask. Amen.
Next item is roll call. Is this? Yeah. Next item is roll call. Yeah.
Neil Angren. Here. Mary Christie. Here. Don Crittenden. Here. Harold Marsh. Here. Don Garvin.
Here.
Charles Hopkins.
Here.
Ralph King.
Here.
John McKeon.
Honey.
John Kirsten.
Yeah, honey.
Nick Ray. Jeffrey Bob Martin. Stephanie Shepard. Here. Rabbi Scott.
Honey.
Bob Scott. Here. David Thornton.
Chris. Here we have a quorum. Next meeting is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, June 16th, 2003, regular session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the minutes as submitted.
Yes, second. We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? 3 minutes passed. Next item, State of the Nation. Chief Smith.
This evening, July 14th, 2003, to appear in front of our council and our Cherokee people. Upcoming events, we have employee meetings here at the complex Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday. We have a runoff election on July 26th. It is important we vote on our proposed constitution and our race for deputy chief. Voters in District 4 also have a runoff election for council in their district. The inauguration is scheduled for August 14th. Issues before us tonight. The BIA has requested information on the election. That's why the BIA asked for more information on our constitutional amendment for the May 24th election. Specifically, they wanted to know about the educational process involving the amendment to remove federal approval from our Constitution. Working with the Election Commission and the Constitutional Convention Commission, we have put together a report showing all the hard work put forth by the Constitutional Convention Commission in holding forums all over the 14-county area and the United States. They did a very good job of distributing more than 100,000 copies of the Constitutional Comparison. The council's attorney has requested a copy of this correspondence, and we'll be sending the council a copy of the report to their offices tomorrow. Housing. Tonight, the council has on the agenda to reverse their own decision of 3 years ago. The council will vote on whether to take $30 million of housing funding set aside for Indian housing and send it directly to a state chartered entity, a housing fund. The Cherokee Nation currently has some budgetary controls over how this money is spent. Because the money comes through the Cherokee Nation first, and we must approve drawdowns. Removing those controls does not in any way improve the accountability of the housing authority. Further, under the current system, the housing authority receives more funding and builds more houses each year than it has ever. When the housing authority was a direct recipient of the funding in 1999, it sent more money to the Cherokee Nation for housing functions than it currently does now. In my opinion, it's sound public policy for the Cherokee Nation to have oversight of these funds. And in fact, under federal law, the Cherokee Nation, not the housing authority, is ultimately liable for this $30 million of funding. When the council voted to change the funding, they immediately saw results. A record number of houses built over the last year, 300 houses. In previous years, it was about 50 houses a year. I commend the council for taking the leadership it has in asserting the Cherokee Nation's oversight of our housing programs. I agree with the council's past decision that Indian housing should be overseen by an Indian tribe, not a state chartered corporation. Another current issue, general assistance. I'd also like to address you on the issue of the tribal council's general assistance program. Me and the council has filed a lawsuit against me on this issue. Let me once again propose a reasonable settlement. Any act or resolution passed by the majority of the whole council that appropriates general assistance funds will be honored and paid promptly. However, the Constitution does not allow individual council members to give Cherokee Nation funds to their own family members, to each other's children, and other folks, without a vote of the entire council. The council can only speak and act as a body, and they did that to enact a resolution. The system has too much potential for abuse. Further, most of these legitimate requests could be handled with our general assistance programs in the executive branch and other programs. In fact, the council, out of a $105,000 budget, has spent more than $41,000 this year from this fund on educational assistance and less than $14,000 in emergency assistance, medical assistance, and general assistance combined. These needs could be met through our regular programs in which each applicant must meet the same set of guidelines. On the occasion of a genuine emergency, our tribal general assistance program can put a check in the hands of our tribal citizens as quickly as the council can. Again, money appropriated by an act or resolution of the full council will be paid from this account promptly. Any money given directly from an elected official of the Cherokee Nation to a private individual should face public scrutiny as a matter of policy in keeping with open government. Noteworthy accomplishments. We have good news. The Cherokee National Holiday is fast approaching. Please start making your plans for Labor Day weekend. This is the 51st Cherokee National Holiday, and it should be bigger and better than ever. The good news, we have won another step closer in the Cherokee Nation's effort to retrieve indirect costs or cost supplements from the Indian Health Service. Our self-government staff has won this victory in the D.C. Circuit. Basically what it means is that the D.C. Circuit believes that the Indian Health Service should have paid us past contract support costs. This would be an amount already compensated in the amount of $8 million. And we would like to say the check is in the mail, but it's not. The problem here is that there's a conflicting case in the 10th Circuit. We have two federal circuits with conflicting rulings on the same issue. So we have to wait to see if the Indian Health Service will take this case to the U.S. Supreme Court to reconcile the two different circuits. So we have to win in the Supreme Court to get our $8 million. This money, if it is awarded, will replace tribal funds that we use to meet federal obligations when IHS refused to pay the agreed amounts. This is similar to the Rayma settlement we won a couple of years ago, only this time it's twice as large. Once again, we fought hard for every single resource to help our Cherokee people. Finally, tonight we have two other examples of growth and progress in the Cherokee Nation. This Thursday, we'll have a groundbreaking for a new housing authority senior complex here in Tahlequah. The shovel ceremony begins at 10 o'clock. The housing authority will have details on the address. It's basically on 4th Street. On Friday morning at 10 a.m., we will have the official grand opening of Steve Lee's new gaming facility in Fort Gibson. So everybody's invited to these two events and milestones. Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chief. Next item is action on unfinished business, none pending. Next is committee reports. Constitution Convention Commission. Charles Gord.
Not seeing our chairman here, I will step in for a brief report. I would just like to echo the statements of our principal chief. We are contributing as much as we can to the information that the BIA has requested, and we are satisfied that the BIA will be satisfied with our educational efforts. The Constitution Commission, through the help of this tribal council, has brought as much information as possible to the hands of the people. We've had meetings throughout the 14 county jurisdiction and beyond. We've also had several direct mailings to every Cherokee family that we have a database for. So we're confident that the BIA will recognize that the education efforts were adequate. Other than that, we'll be waiting to hear just like anyone else. And I would entertain any questions.
The education crisis concerning the that issue going on schedule, is it?
Yes.
All of those that were listed?
Yes. We had a first round of educational forums that we discussed each issue. The first vote of May 26th or May 24th and the second vote. So it wasn't that we were discussing one or the other. We had discussed both issues at the Education Forum. And then after our primary election, we are now currently in the process of revisiting these communities. And there's a list of them. I can't rattle off the rest of them off the top of my head now, but it is those flyers are available here today. And yes, we will continue our education forums up until the time of the elections.
Thank you. Okay, next is Housing Authority, Mary Jane.
Good evening. I just want to report that at this time the work group has given our draft recommendations to our board members. We mailed those. They should have received those today. We currently have 293 employees. So we did have quite a few that have left, and some have left since our voluntary reduction in force. Our board meeting is next Tuesday at 5:30 at the Housing Authority. I did want to mention also, and I believe the chief spoke of it, the Wisdom Keepers, our groundbreaking is Thursday at 10 o'clock out on 4th Street. They're really the building's halfway up. It's not really a groundbreaking, but that's what we're calling it. August the 7th, we have Vianne at Northview Estates is the groundbreaking. I'm not sure of the time on that right now. And September the 11th, we have a groundbreaking in Stillwell, Clearwater Estates. Those last two are single-family dwellings that we are going to have for our people. Do you have any questions?
For Wednesday's meeting, I would like a list of the layoffs for positions compared to from the workforce to the in-house or in-office workers. I mean, I just want to see the layoffs for positions.
You want to know the people that have voluntarily left?
Yes.
Those positions of those people that have left? Okay.
Mayor James, you say the work group has received their report today.
Our board members should have received the draft report, the draft recommendations report in the mail today.
Will this be discussed on a Tuesday meeting at 5:30?
I believe it will.
When can the council expect to receive a copy of those recommendations?
Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, probably. After the board has approved it and looked at them.
Let's see that we get a copy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Cherokee Nation Enterprise, David Stewart.
Good evening. It's been a busy month at C&E. If you'll take a drive to Catoosa, you'll see that we're making great strides in the construction of the new project. We have the foundation in and expect to see steel erected within 2 weeks. So the landscape is going to change significantly. Encourage you to come by. We'll take you on a tour of the entire facility with the new golf course about 75% complete. So it's very exciting. Year-to-date net income is 50% over last year. Our current net income is down, however, because of the lack of blackjack. It was a significant revenue producer for us, and it has gone away, so we're seeing the net income on a monthly basis be low, and we expect that to continue. The opening ceremony for Fort Gibson, as Chief Smith indicated, is on the 18th. We encourage you to come by. We have all the parking lot complete and the interior remodeled, and that facility is performing very well. And we have a great relationship with Fort Gibson and the city manager, I believe, and the mayor there. So it's going very well, and we encourage you to be there. The new games that we purchased are performing better, so we would expect to see net income rise slightly as a result of that. Blackjack is pending completion of procedures and tentative review by the NIGC. The Cherokee Nation Gaming Commission tentatively approved that process, so we would expect to be complete with that within the next 30 days, and we will review the NIGC's response to the game and report to you at a later date. Employment is holding at 1,050 employees. New hires for June, 85% were Cherokee, 93% of all tribes, and total 65% Native American employment. So we're pleased with those percentages. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. It's 167. That is up from 40 at the original that we had when we started.
I noticed Mark on the paper last week, and I looked at people there pretty much for the Eastern brand in the front of Iron Cherokee. And maybe from your report tonight, you may have exceeded theirs.
We're trying.
Let you know
Thank
our
you.
brothers and sisters.
Okay, thank you.
Next is Cherokee Nation Industries, Jim Medusa.
Good evening, Deputy Chief and members of the council.
Good evening. Go.
Our total sales for the month of June were $2.5 million, and this brings our total year-to-date sales of $60 million as compared to last year of $57 million, an increase of about 5%. As you know, our year ends June 30th as well. Profitability for the month of June was about $250,000. Profitability for the year was in excess of $2 million, and that's at a pre-tax level. As compared to last year's $192,000, so that's about a 1,000% increase in net profit. Our backlog is approximately $64 to $65 million. I spent last week in Washington, D.C. with the Aerospace Industries Association, and this was a supplier management council. We met a lot of people, visited Senator Nichols' in-house office, as well as had a meeting with Representative Carson. Explained the situation in the Northeast Oklahoma, particularly in Stillwell, about job losses and how C&I is positioned to take on additional business. All were sympathetic, of course, but nobody had any real help other than offering support in the programs that we're either on or we're trying to get ourselves on. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Next item is new business. You.
Creating $444 from District 8 on my account to the City of Sperry to the Police Department.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
We're gonna do this one at a time. We're gonna get them all at once.
Mr. President, I'd like to make ask Councilman England if he'd amend his motion to also include amending the agenda for legislative act entitled the Contract Publication Act of 2003. This was also passed out of committee and went off the agenda.
I'll accept that.
That's number one.
That's the other one. We don't need that.
The other one's already on.
Is it on there? Okay, so we're gonna add these to that. To amend the agenda to add two items, one a resolution, one an act. And it's 2/3 to amend the agenda. This roll call vote. Yeah.
Bill England? Yes. Mary Christie? No. John Clinton? No. Earl Moss?
Abstain.
John Garvin?
Yes.
Charles Hopkins?
Yes.
Ralph Key?
Yes.
John Kent,
Yes.
John Kenter,
Aye.
Nick Lang,
Yes.
Jack Bob Martin,
Yes.
Stephanie Shepherd,
Yes.
Melvina Scott Powell,
No.
Darcy Scott,
Yes.
David Thornton.
Okay, it's unanimous, did we add it? We will add it to the,
Yeah.
okay. It'll be item, 13, let's see, item 14, 15. Okay.
Mr. President, what was the vote count on this?
What count is it? Eleven yes, 3 noes, 1 abstain.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 1, resolution, Councilmember Shoptown.
This is the resolution notifying higher designation of Cherokee Nation Housing Authority as the recipient of funding for PL 104-330, the Native American Housing Assistance and Self-Determination Act of 1996. I'll put that in form of motion.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I hear some no's. Okay, roll call vote.
Bill Hammond,
No.
Mary Kitchen,
No.
John Britton,
No.
Charlie Moss,
Yes.
John Garvin,
No.
Charles Hopkins,
Yes.
Al King,
Abstain.
John Kent,
No.
John Kester,
No.
Nick Lang,
Abstain.
Jack Bob Martin,
No.
Stephanie Shepherd,
Yes.
Melvina Scott Powell,
Yes.
Darcy Scott,
Abstain.
David Thornton.
No.
Picture,
Here.
change my vote on that. Yes.
Okay, we have 4 no's, 4 yes, 8 no's, and 3 abstaining. Resolution does not pass. Item 2, resolution, Councilmember Shoptown.
This is a resolution authorizing submission of grant application for transitional living services for youth. And that has a 10% incline match, I believe. Yeah. 10% match in the requirement. So I'll put that in form of motion.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 3 is a resolution, Councilmember Shoptown.
This is the resolution authorizing Community Services Division, Office of Environmental Services to submit a grant proposal to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for Cherokee Nation ITEC Ambient Air Monitoring Program. Dwayne, does that have an in-kind match? No, it don't have no in-kind match. I'm gonna put that in form of motion.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Okay, item number 4 again is the resolution, Councilmember Shoptown.
This is the resolution to develop and submit a grant proposal to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for funding of the Resident Opportunities for Self-Sufficiency Program. I put that in form of motion.
Okay, a motion second. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution passes. Item 5 again is a legislative act, Councilman Demos.
Mr. Chairman, this legislative act, amending Legislative Act 3302, authorizing comprehensive budget for fiscal year 2003. This is modification 8. This is the bond has been sent back to council. The main modification to it has been resubmitted, and I would put it in motion to pass this act.
Okay, we have a motion second. Question or comments? If not, this is legislative act. It is roll call vote. Yeah.
Bill Amos?
Yes.
Mary Christie?
Yes.
John Crittenden?
Yes.
Harold Moss?
Yes.
John Garvin?
Yes.
Charles Hopkins? Ralph Key?
Yes.
John King?
Yes.
John McKenzie?
No.
Nick Lane?
Yes.
Jacob R. Martin?
Yes.
Stephanie Shepard? Yes. Marvin Shophouse?
Yes.
Arthur Scott? Yes. David Gordon?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous. The act passes. Item number 6 again is the legislative act, Councilman Demos.
Yes, this legislative act is amending Act 3302. And it's modification number 9. I'm going to make a motion that we pass this legislative act.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Question or comments? If not, again, this is legislative act. It is a roll call vote. Yeah.
Bill Amos?
Yes.
Mary Christie?
Yes.
John Crittenden?
Yes.
Harold Moss?
Yes.
John Garvin?
Yes.
Charles Hopkins?
Yes.
Ralph Key?
Yes.
John King?
Yes.
John McKenzie?
Right.
Nick Lane?
Yes.
Jacob R. Martin?
Yes.
Stephanie Shepard? Yes. Marvin Shophouse?
Yes.
Arthur Scott? Yes. David Gordon?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous. The act passes. Item number 7 is a resolution. Councilman Shophouse.
This is the resolution authorizing the food distribution program to submit an application for funding to the United States Department of Agriculture. Put that in form of motion.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Question or comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The resolution passes. Item 8 again is a resolution. Councilman Scott.
This is a resolution authorizing an application for a two-step project with, grant with the United States Department of Agriculture for the Cherokee Nation Women, Infants, and Children. This, I believe, is a $15,000 application, but in the second step, it can result anywhere in an award of $100,000 to $450,000. Right. So I put this in form of a motion and urge everyone to pass it.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Question or comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The resolution passes. Item 9 again is the resolution. Councilmember Scott.
Number 9 is a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application for the first responder equipment program, and I will move for the adoption of that also.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Question or comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The resolution passes. Item 10, resolution, Councilmember Shophouse.
This is a resolution supporting FEMA assistance to firefighters grants. Put that in form of motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Question or comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The resolution passes. Item 11 is a resolution, Councilmember Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it on? A resolution confirming the nomination of Michael E. Crawley as a board member of the Economic Development Trust Authority Board of Directors. Put this in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion and second for this nomination. Question or comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, nomination passes. 12 is Legislative Act, Councilmember Cook.
Mr. Chairman, I would yield to Stephanie Shepherd for this resolution.
Mr. President, I'd like to address this before I make a motion on it. This legislation is to help clarify and set out new standards of compensation of elected officials. And in doing so, sets forth a formula-based compensation with minimums and maximums of the salary of the deputy, principal chief, and counsel. And it also establishes many of the concerns that were voiced previously that the council should not pass legislation on its own term, and it sets out a timeline as to when the compensation can be calculated, beginning every 4 years of the January 1st of the election. So, and then also it calls for the council to also devise its own docking policy and procedures for members that have absences of committee and full council meetings. This is a similar policy that the Eastern Band Cherokees have done, so that those who have absences that affect them fulfilling their duty, which should be minimal, but however they do arise, and there should be a system to monitor that, and that would be in place. In discussing this with some of the members of the council, however, on section 5, item F, 1, visiting with Councilman King, there is a question of the constitution of that question there, because it interferes with us establishing, limiting our constitutional right on legislation. Did I state that right, Ralph? It is a good piece of legislation, but given that we need to hammer out that constitutional issue, and I just wanted to bring it up forward, and this can be something passed on the new council to deal with a compensation program. So at this time, I would move that we table this.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table item 12. Gentlemen.
Sure. Okay. I briefly had an opportunity to read over Stephanie's proposed legislation, and the language that I took issue with was, whereas the establishment of official compensation shall not be self-serving, the legislative body shall not pass legislation affecting its current body's compensation. I have a problem with that. We, as a constitutional government, we have certain enumerated powers that are given to us by the people. We can neither expand those powers nor diminish them. And so we cannot bind ourselves to not legislate something in the future. So that's my basic problem. I think the overall concept is good and applaudable. I think it's, once the wrinkles are taken out, I think this would be very good legislation. That was my only reservation on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would really like to see us deal with this. I don't know how the rest of it will, but I'd like to do it this term and not send it on to the next term. Would you consider just striking, would that be acceptable to you, Ralph, to strike that part that you think is in conflict?
Yes.
And we talked about that.
I think this is an excellent piece of legislation. I'll pass it and put it on the next council whenever it is. But it could go into effect fully next time.
Well, I guess Mr. President, I'll remove the motion table and we'll let the council decide. I make that formal motion striking section 5, item S1. Because prelude to that, in section 4, it does say that the average figure is calculated on January 1, 2007 for every 4 years after. I think two really important parts of this is taking it to a formula base, which is the average amount of the similar offices, the 5 civilized tribes and the Eastern Band, and it gives a minimum maximum range. And then also, the last item that I addressed a while ago was that the council is required, and I'll just read this, whereas elected officials are required to perform their duty on call 7 days a week annually during their term, tribal council shall devise its own compensation docking policy and procedures for absences of committee and full council meetings. A council member's compensation cannot be docked for absences due to attending other official tribal business or illness, and these policies shall be established in effect by January 1st, 2004. We know that this is important. We're talking about putting in a salary, and whereas the Eastern Band, they actually struck council members from having outside full-time jobs, full-time employment, which they received a salary, received benefits. At this time, it is so close to new officials taking place, that's going to be on their shoulders, whether they choose to leave their employment, because there are several that have full-time employment, but it does give a way that the people know that elected officials aren't being paid a salary, a full salary, if they don't show up.
I would like to second this, but I'd like to ask exactly where it's striking.
S1. And section 5.
I would like to second my motion. Mr. Chairman. Point of order. I believe the motion is to table the issue.
Okay,
And not make modifications to it.
She withdrew that.
She withdrew the motion.
She withdrew that motion and made a motion.
Oh, okay.
She withdrew the motion and made another motion.
Made a motion.
Withdrew and made another motion to go ahead and vote on this.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Ask Mr. Keene or some of the attorneys to explain section 2, the purpose. The purpose of this act shall be to set permanent guidelines. What the word permanent do for us here? Is that binding the future council to that this could not be amended as such?
No, sir, Mr. Martin. Any act that is passed by the council is intended to be permanent in nature. That is not to say that any future council or this council or anyone, or setting the Cherokee Nation can amend or strike any act. But that's the reason for the word permanent in there, that it is a legislative act that is intended to be passed by this council to be permanent in nature. Like I said, new councils with new ideas may wish to modify this act or any other act that's been passed in the last 4 years. So the word permanent there does not restrict it from being amended in the future.
Mr. President, I tried to get some information on this, and my question was, what is the average of the 5 tribes in the Eastern Band? And apparently that's a top secret, and we don't have that information. And as I look at this, we've been in trouble on pay raises before. It looks like we could make 50,000. I say if that's a big if, I'm not elected yet, but, it seems like a lot of money, and, you know, the saying is, the more money you make, the further you get in debt. So I don't want to go in debt anymore either, and, I, definitely going to vote against this. Somebody said this is the third time we've raised our pay, and I'm not sure how much we're raising it, because nobody knows what the average is. It's pretty easy to average 6 things. I'm an old math teacher.
Mr.
You
Gardner.
just add them up and divide by 6, so you got it. But we can't add those things up because we don't know them. And I'm definitely going to vote no, and try to keep myself out of trouble.
Mr. President. This is guidelines, and this way it doesn't set an exact. We're not setting a pay increase; it's setting a guideline. And I've been on the phone with Mr. Hembry today, and last week we were waiting. I think we had the request in 10 days ago. The administration, someone in the legal department was getting those figures, and that way it was out of our hands in obtaining those figures. We have yet to receive what that official figure would be, just to have for information. The one thing on the ranges is that the high ranges, we know it is low than some of the highest salaries that are paid to other elected officials. But the minimum is what is the current salary right now. So that's all I can answer there. Todd, did you find out anything right before the meeting? They had that information yet?
No, ma'am. I did have a conversation with Mr. Parrish of the legal department. Up until 5 o'clock, they were attempting to garner that information from some of the other civilized tribes. They were tight-lipped about that information, to be honest, and said that many of our requests would have to be made formally in writing. But yes, we did ask Ms. Hammonds of the Justice Department to independently see what this average was, and unfortunately we have not been able to come up with that information. It would have been the day it passed out of committee, which I know was the
third.
Pardon?
Who did you go to ask for this information?
Diane Hammond.
Well, you know, I'm surprised that Mr. Gardner had a problem with this, getting the information. I know I myself called when we gave ourselves a raise. I know Gina and the staff called the 5 tribes and got this information. They didn't have any problem getting it. We called the Eastern Band when we gave the raise. We didn't have any problem getting it. And from that information is what, if you'll help me recall, Harold, I think that's how we arrived at what our salaries would be. We went lower than all those, went a little higher than one. But this information wasn't hard to retrieve at all. We just called the tribes and got it. We didn't go through anyone in the Justice Department to get it, but Gina and her staff got it, and I know I called one tribe myself and got it. But this is exactly what we did before we gave ourselves a raise before. So I think it's a good example to go by. I personally would just like to see this. I'd like to not see another council go through what we went through this last few years in getting a pay raise and trying to bring just up to standards what the council needs to be reimbursed for, because anyone that's ever served on this tribal council knows that this is a 7-day-a-week, 24 hours a day job. It does not end at 9 o'clock when you go to bed, because your telephone is going to be ringing, and it's going to be ringing at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's an important job. This is something that the people place their trust in us to handle their pocketbook and their laws. But we need to be compensated so that we don't have to dig in our pocket just to serve the people. I really don't believe that should happen. And that's what we were doing before. I know we got a lot of criticism, and I know there's some people that think that the tribal council should never set the salary.
that we should maybe go to appointing a board or something, but I don't see anyone passing off any power that the Constitution gives anyone else. One thing the Constitution does give us the power to do, and that is to set the salary. And I think it's a mandate that the council do that. And that's why I fully support this legislation. I hope we can get it so the next council can have it to take care of it in 4 years when the time comes around to reevaluate, because the tribe is doing nothing but growing larger and larger. And I think the chief's salary, the deputy chief's salary, and the current council in the future will need to be looked at again and reevaluated. And I think it's a good piece of legislation, and Stephanie, I'm just proud of you for doing it.
Mr. President, I'd just like to say, as far as compensation, I certainly won't benefit of this because I was not successful in my election efforts. But the reason I like this legislation is because it, number one, creates an objective standard. So that it takes politics out of the picture on it. And number two, there's accountability in it. Everybody will understand what the salary bases are, how they're derived. It's just a matter of mathematics. And so that's why I favor this. Everyone has seen the problems that the last pay raise caused, whether rightly or wrongly. And if we can take one more element of controversy and strife out of this nation through the passage of good legislation, I'm in favor. And I do so.
Mr. President, I was just going to add that, I appreciate Barbara and Mr. King's comments, because that's the whole thing, was trying to take politics out of this and just work on a good piece of legislation. And you hit it right on the head. This is to be objective, and it mirrors even things that the state of Oklahoma does, whereas it's on an objective base. The elected officials, even in our own state, I believe the government salary is set by statute to be the same as the Supreme Court judge, and elected officials on down mirror other positions, so that it does stay objective. And that truly will take the politics out of this thing, get it off the rug, and the people can know that the council will not be doing legislation self-serving to that own particular body when they're sitting on their term. That this will be set by guideline standards, and it will not be ever seen again as a pay raise issue, but to follow standards. And I know there's several folks that didn't want to vote for this because of the slandering that they received on this during the election. And I'd ask those, I'd employ those to look at this as a piece of legislation. That's the way we need to look at legislation, not as political things, agendas, but as, is this a good piece of law? And I think this is, and so, Mr. President, I call for a question, vote on this.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to begin with the table, but we've redone it, and we have a motion to go ahead and vote.
Mr. President, and I realize the question's been called, but I'd like to ask one final question, if possible. And again, this does not automatically give anyone a pay raise. And I think that's some of the misunderstanding here. All this simply is guidelines for any type of future adjustments. Thank you.
This is an act, so it's a roll call vote.
Joe Angman?
Yes.
Mary Christie?
Abstain.
John Crittenden?
Yes.
Charlie Moss?
No.
John Garvin?
No.
Charles Hopkins?
Yes.
Ralph King?
Yes.
John Keenan?
Yes.
John Fisher?
Sorry.
Nick Gates?
No.
Edward Martin?
Yes.
Stephanie Shepard?
Yes.
Nirvana Chophouse? Yes. Arthur Scott?
Yes.
David Thornton?
No.
Ten yes, 4 no's, 1 abstain. The act passes. Okay, item 13. The legislative act, Councilmember Cookson.
This is Legislative Act amending Act 34-02, the Cherokee Nation Motor Vehicle Licensing and Tax Code.
Madam Chairman, this was a legislative act to clarify and make more certain language in our motor fuel tax legislation for the allocation of money to build roads in the 14 county jurisdiction area, adding the words, Mr. Harris is here and he's assisted on this act, making more definite that the money could in fact be spent on county roads, not just state highways and federal highways.
I'll put this in the form of a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? This is the legislative act, it is a roll call vote, okay?
Bill Andrews. Mayor Christie.
Yes.
John Franklin. Harold Moss.
Yes.
John Gardner.
Yes.
Charles Hopkins.
Yes.
Ralph Key.
Yes.
John Keenan.
Yes.
John Kinsler.
Yes.
Nick West.
Yes.
Jeffrey Bob Martin.
Yes.
Stephanie Shepard.
Yes.
Nevada Cophouse. Yes. Arthur Scott. Yes. David Thornton.
Just a question. Does this eliminate the state highways, or is it still part of it?
Just in addition to.
Okay, yes.
Okay, it's unanimous, the legislation passes. Item 14 is the resolution, Councilman England.
Yes, Mr. President, this is a resolution granting $444 from general assistance money in District 8 and utilizing general assistance funds to the city of Surrey with the Surrey Police Department for handheld radios that will be on the same frequency as the Cherokee Nation Marshal, since they're the only cross-deputized city from the District 8 area that has 4 smoke shops in that area that have it.
Okay, we have motion and second. Questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak to this a little bit. I think it came through executive and finance when I shared it the other day in passed. But I would urge everyone to think twice before supporting this. Not that we disagree that they can have the money, but we do have a case before the court, and I think if we pass this, it will be detrimental to that case. I think we pretty much decided that since the council and chief can't agree on this, that the court is the proper place to make that decision and instruct both bodies what to do on this. This has been a sore point with the chief and the council for a long time and been a bone of contention. And we have now taken it to the court, so I would ask everyone to allow the court to make the decision for us. And I do have some money to spend. I think there's several others that have some money, and it won't mean that they can't get it, but once this court case is decided, then you could probably give it to them, Bill.
Okay, Barbara, this came out of committee before the lawsuit was filed, and I'd just like for everybody to voice their opinion on it. I don't think this will have any bearing setting precedent on the way the court will react to this.
Mr. Chairman, it was the same time that there was his submitted, there is a number of others still over there waiting to be handled, and you'd be handling one of, how many you submitted, Gail? About 16, you've got about 16 applications over there waiting, and if you do this, you're pulling one out of 16 that already done.
That was kind of my point. Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a question. Do I understand correctly that the chief has refused to pay any individual vouchers?
Let me just say this. One of the things that the council has discussed and that we have concern with, since this was in our budget and he has stepped out and refused to pay it, if we let it go, then will there be something else that's in the budget that he could refuse to pay? So we just think that is back and forth, and it would just be good to get the court's decision on it.
Now call for the question.
Okay, I'm gonna call for roll call vote, because that's it. Okay, roll call vote.
Bill Angel,
Yes.
Mary Christie,
No.
John Crittenden, Harold DeMont,
No.
John Garvin,
Yes.
Charles Hopkins,
No.
Ralph King,
Abstain.
John Ken,
No.
John Catcher,
Aye.
Nick Lang,
No.
Jackie Bob Martin,
Yes.
Stephanie Shepard,
Stay.
Nevada Scott Couch,
No.
Arthur Scott,
No.
David Thornton.
No.
Okay, 4 yeas, 9 noes, 2 abstain. Resolution does not pass. Okay, next item is legislative act, Stephanie.
Mr. President, this legislative act is entitled the Contract Publication Act of 2003. It was passed out of rules. You have it before you. It's not in your packet, but it's laying there before you. And what this does is it's an act that adds even more teeth to our public information laws. Individuals don't know to go and ask for this information, but the money that this nation spends on contracts, we are accountable to the Cherokee people that it is being spent correctly and for what it is being spent for, because this is their money that's coming in to deliver those services. And what this does in the provision, it says that each executive director of the Department of the Cherokee Nation shall submit to the Secretary of Treasury by November 1st of each year, listing all requisitions exceeding $5,000. And also it asks them to list the following information under professional service contracts, non-professional service contracts, contracts for leasing property, including real property contracts and lease agreements for products or equipment. And also in this report, name the name of the supplier, description of each acquisition, the purchase price, and the amount expended to date for the preceding fiscal year of the acquisition. This report shall also identify sole source, sole brand acquisitions, and acquisitions by carrier vendors. And those of us that serve on the Employment Committee know that the times that we've had many items come up that we've had questions about, deal around sole source or taro, that was the proper procedures followed in the amounts of those. One other thing I'll just mention here is that on item, on point F, for the Cherokee Nation public, this allows them to see, because of this law, the Cherokee Nation would have to publish the individuals and businesses or agencies that have contracts awarded to them over $100,000, and those will be published annually in the Phoenix and on the website. And I think the people, have the right to see this information, and be all. This act would pull it together for them and make it a public document for them to see where the nation is spending its money for contracts. So, Mr. President, with one friendly amendment I'd like to make, because under Section 2 it says by the Cherokee Nation, I'd like to add and its corporation. So that this way, this also, our corporation now, CNE, would also be, any of our corporations would be under this, not state corporations, but Cherokee Nation. So with that amendment to add its corporations after Cherokee Nation, I'll put that for a motion.
I second that motion with the
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Mr. President, Stephanie, I was looking through this legislation, and it is worded in terms of Cherokee Nation and its departments. Is it intended that this would also encompass independent commissions of the Cherokee Nation?
I think if it did, we would need to maybe put that in the purpose, Ralph. Is that your
Well,
opinion?
for example,
right
the
now?
election commission, the constitutional commission, all these independent commissions, tax commission, that they're not a quote department of the tribe, but they're still a part of the tribal entity.
Todd?
I would believe that any quote independent commission, such as the Election Commission or the Constitution Commission or the Tax Commission, they are entities of the Cherokee Nation. And when you look at all contracts of the Cherokee Nation, where they are an integral part and cannot exist outside of the Cherokee Nation, then I think that would cover it. But if a more specific language, if it needs to be added as a friendly amendment, would not couldn't hurt.
Okay. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I was just looking for clarification. And the other question is, since with respect to your friendly amendment, and its corporations, are we talking about tribally chartered corporations or tribally owned? In other words, is it going to take in C&E and C&I or only C&E?
It would take in C&E if we put just corporations, correct, Todd? Or do we need to fill that out?
If you added that as a friendly amendment, I would suggest that we more clearly define corporations as to any corporation that is the Cherokee Nation owned wholly or a majority of stock in. I think that would cover any. It would definitely cover C&E, and it would cover C&I, since C&I is a corporation which the Cherokee Nation holds a majority stock in. That corporation would be defined as any corporation in which the Cherokee Nation wholly owns or holds or owns a majority of stock therein.
So that would include C&I?
Yes.
What about the housing board?
The Housing Authority State Chartered Corporation, that I believe the Cherokee Nation owns the majority stock in. Is that not correct, Chief?
It's a non-profit corporation, so it really has no stock.
But it's wholly owned by the Cherokee Nation. Is that correct?
If I could address the council, I haven't seen the language. I would ask you, I endorse the concept. I ask you to table it and let us do some wordsmithing, because even the mechanics of department heads submitting the report is a much cleaner way to accomplish that. For example, acquisition management can do that stuff automatically. And then there's a question about there needs to be some protections with our corporations that are divulging information that gives us confidentiality or market leverage. So if you would, I ask that you consider tabling this, work with language to accomplish the ultimate goal. I think the ultimate goal is a very good
Mr. President, when we passed out committee, Mr. Ragsdale had requested that we do sit and discuss on some technicalities, but he had not been able to get with us. So what I would like to do is still go ahead and pass this, and we can still make some amendments and come back through rules. But I'd like to get this passed at this time, and we can come back and make some amendments, changes, because we do have some technical things working on.
I'd like to ask Buzz, again, if he is, on behalf of the corporation, and how this fits together.
I haven't seen the legislation either, other than understanding what's been spoken tonight. The amendment that you offered regarding the corporations, I would advise that the council be very cautious in dealing with C&E and C&I. There are certain market advantages, pricing, competitive nature items that should not be disclosed to the public. So when you're dealing with a corporation, that their contractors are public contractors, and you're offering their pricing, their contracting services, and a lot more information about them to their competitors, which actually hurts C&E's contractors. Because you're giving, like I said, you're giving their competition their information. that, in my opinion, should be proprietary in nature in for-profit business entity environments. CNI, to a certain degree, will fall under that same theory. However, a lot of their contracts are public. But that's more on the sales side. I really don't know how much subcontracting CNI does, but I would caution the council in dealing with CNE.
Mr. President, I think we have a compromise here. I'm talking with our council, is that to make a motion to, at this time, remove the wording, the amendment for corporation, and also this is not an emergency, and to strike in section 7 that on the effective date, the emergency clause be withdrawn. Corporation Act.
Did everybody understand that?
So I'll put that in the form of a motion. I'd like to amend my motion that the motion to amend, I'd like to amend my motion to amend, be as stated without that amendment to include corporations, and under section 7 to strike the emergency clause under the effective date, that it shall become effective October 1, 2003.
Okay, we have a motion to amend. A motion to re-amend. And amend the amendment, right?
Make it clear.
I'm trying to get this clear, so. Emergency clause. Emergency clause, yeah, right there.
Mr. President, are we excluding CNE and CNI?
Yes.
Okay, are we clear? Are we clear on what we're doing? If y'all are, I'm not. Okay, now, we've had a motion second to vote on this with the amendment. The first time, right? Corporation. Okay, we taking out the amendment for the corporation and wording what on item 7 emergency. Okay, so now we're back to voting on it, right? Okay, everybody clear? Okay, this is legislative act and it's a roll call vote. Yeah.
Gil Angel?
Yes.
Mary Dixon?
Yes.
Ron Crittenden? Harold Lamont?
Yes.
John Garvin?
Yes.
Carl Costa?
Yes.
Ralph Key?
Yes.
John Keener?
Yes.
John Texas?
Aye.
Nick Lang?
Yes.
Jack Martin?
Yes.
Stephanie Shepard? Yes. Mayor Ryder Scott Powell? Yes. First Scott?
Yes.
David Thornton?
Unanimous, the legislation passes. Next item is adjournment.
Motion adjourned.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned till August 11th at 6 p.m. August 11th. Nice one.